About 4 o'clock in the morning here, and we have had a couple of days of rain, or not rain, snow. I wish it was rain, but it was snow. We've been snowed in for most of the weekend, and I didn't make it to the store. So, my family's complaining. We're almost out of bread. And of course they have to have bread with everything. So, and my road is still covered. They didn't plow it or anything, because I'm sitting in the middle of a 5-mile stretch of gravel road, so they don't plow out here. So I'm going to be making a quick loaf of bread. A quick, easy loaf of bread. This isn't your normal bread that most people make, but this is a very simple, very easy recipe. It can be a very simple 4-ingredient recipe. 3 cups of self-rising flour, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1 12-ounce beer. Yes, this is going to be beer bread. And 2 tablespoons of butter. And yes, beer bread sounds a little odd, but I'm telling you, if you ever try this, it is the best bread you ever made. It tastes just like homemade yeast bread. That's what the beer does to it. Now, when you cook beer, you cook the alcohol out of it, so not a big deal. But we're going to start off here. For starters, we need our oven up to 350 degrees, so it may be a little smoky in here yet. I just put wood in the stove to try to bump that temperature up on the oven. So, other than that, you need a greased and floured bread pan, and we're going to get started here. Now, I don't have self-rising flour. I just don't stock it. I have all-purpose flour, and I'm already making a mess, which I'm notorious for. I'll tell you right now. Notorious. This is not exactly a precise recipe. It can vary just a little bit. I'm not super particular with the amounts I put in it. As long as it's close to 3 cups, it will work. That one's probably more than a smidgen over. Okay. We have our 3 cups of flour in there. And being we're not using self-rising flour, we need some baking soda, or baking powder, I mean. And this would be 3 teaspoons of baking powder, because I've got 3 cups of flour. So I'm using 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and I've got approximately a teaspoon of baking soda here. And I'm going to put just a pinch of salt in it. It doesn't need a whole lot, just a little pinch. Okay, this recipe is basically a dump recipe. You just dump everything in here. So here's our 1/3 cup of sugar, and I've got 2 teaspoons or tablespoons of butter sitting here that's been kind of softening a little bit, just because it makes it easier to stir it in. And I am going, you normally don't whisk this, but I'm going to whisk it a little bit just because my flour is not self-rising and I want it mixed well. So I'm going to just whisk it a little bit, make sure it's all mixed up. And then all we do next is 12-ounce beer, which this is 11.2, so, but I'm sure it's close enough. And I'll tell you right now, if you get it, the darker the amber on it, the better it tastes. You get more of that yeasty taste with it. Now all you have to do is stir this up, get it all mixed. Now, one thing you don't want to do is overmix. And it's looking like beans. I added a little extra flour here and there. I'm going to have to go get me another beer and guesstimate at it. Be right back. This, folks, is what happens when you guesstimate things instead of measuring precisely. And I wasn't banking on this beer not being a 12 ounce. This is actually 11 ounce. 11.2, which is pretty much just a 11-ounce beer. But it's basically just to dump all your ingredients in the bowl. Mix well, but don't over mix. It is bread, not cake batter. So as long as everything looks fairly moist in here, we're going to be good to go. And it is. Look at that. Is that not pretty? Now all we have to do is dump this in our pan. And put it in the oven, in a preheated oven. Preheated to 350 degrees. And it will cook for approximately 50 minutes. I am, however, cooking on a wood cook stove. And the temperature will not remain precisely the same for 50 minutes. So I will have to adjust accordingly and check to see just exactly when it's done. But this is pretty much it. We're going to have bread in about an hour. And I'll bring you back as soon as I take this out of the oven. Just in case you want to see a little, I'm going to turn you around here just a smidgen. Although I think you're a little too low to really see. There's the stove. This in here. And I'm going to put it to this outer side, simply because this side's where my wood box is. So it's naturally a little hotter. It does have, you know, a shield in there, but still, the oven gets a little hotter on that side, so I moved it over to this side, away from the heat, and we're going to let that bake for about 50 minutes, give or take a couple, and we'll be back when it's done. We are back, and I think our bread is done. So I'm going to take it out of the oven here real quick. Bring it over. Is that not a gorgeous loaf of bread? Let's see if we can dump it out here. And I'm going to let it cool off a little bit before cutting it. But I will cut you off a slice and let you see. This bread slices really well. Now it did take a little bit longer because my wood stove was not quite up to temperature. It was about 3 instead of 350, and therefore it took a little bit longer, but that's how you have to deal with wood stoves. They don't always cooperate. You got to kind of work around them, but that's okay. We can do that. It's a whole lot better than running up the electric bill with the electric stove. And I've got the wood stove going anyway because, well, it's winter. I'm not sure what it is out there at the moment, the temperature, but, oh, we're sitting at 19 degrees. That's a lovely temperature to be at right now in the morning. Wind chill's probably in the single digits then. But I will bring you back in just a little bit. I'm going to let this cool off for just a few minutes. And in the meantime, though, I almost forgot. Instead of melting butter, I just melted a little bit of ghee, which is butter that's had all the excess water cooked out of it, so it's still technically butter. But I'm just going to coat this real good with it and let it sit here and cool. I should have that under that, so I don't have a mess all over the counter. That'd be a little bit better. Not quite so messy. These are a mess to clean up anyway. So, And yeah, it did kind of crack open on me a little bit. That was probably due to the fact that, well, the temperature wasn't quite right. So it rose a little more on the inside than it probably should have. But that's okay. It's still going to eat and taste just as well as it would otherwise. But I will bring you back in just a little bit and show you how I slice this up. I'll talk to y'all in just a little while. Okay, we're back. And it's still warm, but I think it's cool enough to cut. So, I'm going to cut a slice off this and let you see how it looks. And then I'm going to put, I think I washed my dish. It is a little crusty on top, which is not as crusty like that if you do it in a conventional oven, but still, this bread, does that not look yummy? A little butter, and some peach vanilla jam. Breakfast. Oh, it smells so good. I think I'll try a bite now. Tastes good. Tastes like homemade yeast bread. It has a good consistency. As you see, it doesn't fall apart real easy. So once this finishes cooling off, you can slice this pretty much however thick or thin you want it. I've sliced it really thin before because, well, I try not to eat too much of the starches. But this one's an exception. I will be eating this. Okay. Thank y'all very much. I hope you give this recipe a try. It's really simple, easy. I will put the recipe in the description also. And thank you all very much for watching. I'll talk to y'all later on. Bye-bye.